The year is 1888, the place Whitechapel, London, a district shrouded in mystery and fear. Imagine foggy, gaslit streets, shadows dancing in the darkness, creating an eerie atmosphere. Fear clung to the air, thick and suffocating, as if the very mist carried whispers of dread. A killer walked among them, Jack the Ripper, a name that would become infamous. His name alone conjures images of brutality and mystery, a figure cloaked in darkness. Jack the Ripper wasn't a common thief or a drunken brawler. He was something far more sinister. He was a predator who targeted the most vulnerable, striking fear into the hearts of many. His victims, women eking out a living in the darkness of London's East End, were found with throats slashed, bodies mutilated beyond recognition. The brutality of the crimes shocked even the most hardened police officers, leaving them in a state of disbelief. Jack the Ripper wasn't just a killer. He was a spectre, a nightmare made flesh, haunting the streets. His reign of terror, though brief, left an indelible scar on London's psyche, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface, waiting to emerge. To understand the mystery of Jack the Ripper, we must first know his victims, the women whose lives were tragically cut short. 5 women, all murdered within a 3-month period, are definitively linked to the killer, creating a chilling timeline of terror. These women, often forgotten in the annals of history, were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Each had their own story, their own struggles. My name was Mary Ann Nichols, but most called me Polly. I was a mother, a daughter, and a friend. I was the first victim discovered, my life ending in the early hours of August 31st, 1888. My throat had been slashed twice and my abdomen was mutilated, a gruesome end to my struggles. Annie Chapman, the next victim, suffered similar horrific injuries, her life ending in a brutal fashion. I was Elizabeth Stride, discovered on the same night as Catherine Eddowes. My life was filled with hardship and hope. My throat was cut but showed no signs of abdominal mutilation, a mystery to many. Some believe the killer was interrupted, leaving my story incomplete. Catherine Eddowes, found shortly after Stride, was brutally mutilated, her life ending in unimaginable pain. Her face slashed and her internal organs removed, a testament to the killer's brutality. I was Mary Jane Kelly, the final victim discovered in my room. My life was one of dreams and despair. My body was subjected to the most horrific mutilation of all, a tragic end to my young life. These women, forgotten in life, became forever linked in death by the brutality of their murders, their stories echoing through time. Their stories, though tragic, are crucial to understanding the darkness that gripped Whitechapel in that autumn of terror, a darkness that still haunts us today. The brutality of the Ripper's crimes, coupled with their seemingly random nature, terrified the public and baffled the police. The killer often chose to attack on weekends or holidays, striking swiftly and disappearing into the labyrinthine streets of Whitechapel. The victims, all women living in poverty, were often last seen alive in the company of their killer. This suggests that Jack the Ripper was a charming individual, able to gain the trust of his victims before revealing his true, monstrous nature. The Ripper's weapon of choice was most likely a sharp knife, used with a surgeon's precision to inflict the horrific wounds found on the victims. The mutilations, becoming increasingly frenzied with each murder, pointed to a level of rage and possibly mental instability. Section 5. Whispers in the Dark, the Ripper Letters. As the investigation continued, a new element of the macabre entered the picture: the Ripper Letters. Hundreds of letters, purportedly written by the killer, flooded police stations and newspapers, creating a chaotic atmosphere. Most were quickly dismissed as hoaxes, the work of attention seekers eager to capitalize on the public's fear and the media frenzy.
One letter, however, stood out from the rest: the infamous From Hell letter. This chilling missive, received by George Lusk, the leader of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, was accompanied by a small box containing half a human kidney, adding a gruesome twist. While the authenticity of the From Hell letter remains a subject of debate among historians and experts, it has become inextricably linked to the Jack the Ripper case. The letter's chilling tone and gruesome contents serve as a stark reminder of the killer's depravity and the terror he inflicted upon London, leaving an indelible mark on the city's history.
Section 6. The Suspects, a cast of characters. Over the years, more than 100 suspects have been named in connection with the Jack the Ripper murders. The suspects ranged from impoverished immigrants to prominent members of society, each with their own compelling yet ultimately unproven link to the crimes.
Some of the more prominent suspects include Montague John Druitt, a barrister who committed suicide shortly after the final murder, Walter Sickert, a painter with a morbid fascination with the case, and Francis Tumblety, an eccentric American doctor who fled the country shortly after the murders began. Other suspects include Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant living in Whitechapel who was later committed to an asylum, Michael Ostrog, a Russian conman and thief, and even Queen Victoria's grandson, Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence.
Section 7. A Surgeon's Precision, the case for Montague John Druitt. Of all the suspects, Montague John Druitt remains a particularly intriguing figure. Druitt, a barrister from a respectable family, committed suicide by drowning himself in the River Thames shortly after the final murder.
Some investigators believe that Druitt's suicide was an admission of guilt, driven by the unbearable weight of his crimes. Others point to Druitt's medical knowledge, gained during his time as a student at Winchester College, as evidence of his ability to inflict the precise and brutal wounds found on the victims. However, there is no concrete evidence linking Druitt to the crimes. His name, like those of the other suspects, remains a tantalizing thread in the tapestry of the Jack the Ripper mystery.
Section 8. A Conspiracy of Silence.
The Royal Connection. The theory linking Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence, to the Jack the Ripper murders is perhaps the most sensational, yet also the most unsubstantiated.
This theory, often dismissed as mere speculation, posits that the prince contracted syphilis and, in a fit of madness, committed the murders.
Proponents of this theory claim that a cover-up was orchestrated by the royal family to protect the monarchy from scandal.
They point to the sudden end to the murders, coinciding with Prince Albert Victor's departure from London as evidence of a conspiracy.
However, there is no credible evidence to support Prince Albert Victor's involvement in the crimes.
The royal connection theory, while captivating, remains firmly in the realm of speculation. Section 9. The Legacy of Fear, Jack the Ripper in Popular Culture.
The Jack the Ripper murders, though horrific, have had a lasting impact on popular culture.
The case has inspired countless books, films, documentaries, and television shows, each attempting to shed light on the mystery and unmask the killer.
From the graphic novel From Hell by Alan Moore to the film The Lodger starring Alfred Hitchcock, Jack the Ripper has become a cultural icon, a symbol of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of society.
The murders continue to fascinate and horrify audiences, ensuring that the legend of Jack the Ripper will live on for generations to come. Section 10. The Enduring Mystery, Why We're Still Captivated.
More than a century after the Whitechapel murders, the case of Jack the Ripper continues to fascinate and perplex us.
Why, one might ask, are we still so captivated by a killer who vanished into the fog over a century ago?
Perhaps it is the mystery itself that draws us in. The tantalizing possibility that we might finally unmask the killer and solve one of history's most enduring enigmas.
Or perhaps it is the glimpse into the dark underbelly of Victorian society, a reminder that even in the most civilized of societies, evil can lurk in the shadows.
Whatever the reason, the legend of Jack the Ripper endures, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the human heart.
Section 11. Conclusion. Will we ever truly know? The identity of Jack the Ripper remains a mystery, a puzzle that has perplexed historians, criminologists, and armchair detectives for over a century. Despite countless theories and suspects, the killer's true identity remains elusive. Will we ever know who Jack the Ripper was? Perhaps with advances in DNA technology and the discovery of new evidence, the killer's true identity will one day be revealed. Or perhaps the mystery will endure, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows forever unsolved.